Parties! Everyone loves parties, unless of course you're like me, who is an introvert, in which case you probably despise them. But on the other hand, there are video games, which everyone also loves, especially if you're like me, who, once again, is an introvert. However, what happens if you end up combining something that I hate and something that I love? What you get is just okay. Of course I do jest, that isn't really the whole story, as your enjoyment for these kind of games will largely depend on who you're playing them with. But man, there are just a lot of these games. We're talking Mario Party, Mario Kart, Among Us, Smash Bros, Lethal League, Jackbox, Stick Fight, Gartic Phone, Ultimate Chicken Horse, Fall Guys, not to mention the absolute myriad of trivia and board game adaptations. Because it's one thing just to play Halo with the boys while under the influence of the Mary Jane, but it's a completely different thing for a game to be made explicitly for a party. You know, a party game. I went ahead and broken down the three main things that I think make up a party game, starting with multiplayer. Yeah, it's gotta be multiplayer, and it's gotta be made with it almost explicitly in mind. Listen, Mario Party is great, but I don't know a single person who would no-life these games if they were single player. Because a party with just one person is just Mario, and that's kinda sad. Now, keep in mind, when I say multiplayer, I am talking about mostly couch co-op. While online is pretty bog standard today, I think it's safe to say that these games are at their peak when everyone is in the same room. Of course, that's not to discount Discord group calls or anything, because those can certainly be just as fun, but it's not the same. It's different, you know? Second on the list is that it's gotta be approachable. Simplicity isn't a bad thing, and the most effective party games are those that are very easy to just pick up and play. This achieves many things actually. One, it's easy to understand, which is often a deciding factor on whether or not you can get someone who normally doesn't play video games to go ahead and give it a try. Because, I mean, listen, I love fighting games just as much as the next guy, but if you put someone new like my grandma in front of this and you gotta explain all of this garbage, that's not gonna go well. Her video game knowledge starts and ends with Facebook Words with Friends. You think she's gonna get this, and then I have to break down what a Potemkin is. That doesn't sound like a war robot, that sounds like what you would name a pumpkin patch. Okay though, side note, it is actually pretty entertaining to watch two people who've never touched a fighting game try to out-button mash one another. Now, finishing off this list, skill has to matter. Kinda. A good party game will have a way to level the playing field so that way the objectively better player won't always be on top, but also won't put an active handicap on those who are good. This is often done through random elements, such as dice rolls. And do keep a note, when I say skill, I don't mean purely mechanical skill, but things like strategy as well. And I think this is a key part of keeping these games fun for everyone. Because even if a game is easy for less experienced players to pick up, it will very quickly stop being fun if they go in knowing who's going to win every single time. Plus, being stomped in any capacity, especially when you don't really know what you're doing, isn't fun. Not to mention, it'll probably get boring for the ones who are stomping everyone else. Now, this does of course leave the possibility open for just straight up bullshit to happen, which in my opinion is more of the good kind of frustration rather than the bad, especially since in most games, if someone screws you over, there's a pretty good chance that you'll have the opportunity to do it right back. And that's what I think makes up a party game. I feel like every single one of these at least hits these 3 points in some way, shape, or form. But now that we have broken down what generally makes up these games, I actually want to talk about the different kinds because not all of them are created equal, nor are they made for every kind of person. I've decided to separate these into party games that are made for gamers, those for non-gamers, and the games where the winning is a side objective. The last one doesn't fit much, but I'll explain a bit. Trust me, it makes sense in my head. First, the ones for the gamers. These would be those that require all players to have a decent set of mechanical skill already to enjoy it. Stuff like Super Smash Bros. And Lethal League, which are casual by nature and are easy to pick up, and also have things like items and options to level out the playing field. But the result of this kind of design are games that are largely based on individual skill, with random factors having little to no impact on the game as a whole, depending on how much people decide to interact with them. Cause like, listen, If I'm playing Smash with someone who's never played before, it does not matter how many items we enable, how big of a handicap I take, me and my boy Tiny Michael are going to bury you alive. And that's just not fun for anyone. So for those that would be on the receiving end of this, there are the games for non-gamers. These are your Mario parties, board game adaptations, and trivia. Unlike the others, these aren't really demanding from a player input standpoint, often with really simple control setups and easy to understand goals. But simple doesn't mean boring, mind you. Mario Party, for example, uses its luck and turn-based nature to mess everyone up. Someone who normally doesn't play games can very well win in Mario Party, even if they're losing the active gameplay bits like minigames. Not only just from the luck, but from the bits of strategy, they can still come up on top, or at least mess up all the others who are doing better than them. Now, admittedly, this last category is a bit abstract, but the Jackbox games fit this perfectly. Some card games like Cards Against Humanity, What Do You Meme, and New Phone Who This, where the goal of the game isn't really to win. In fact, I don't really think these are games you play to play a game. You play them to make your friends laugh. There really isn't any winning with these, which is of course objectively false. You can technically win all of these. But it's these kind of games that are really effective at making the act of having fun beat out trying to win. Partly because they're often one and the same, as many of them are designed where the funniest answers are usually the winning ones. Now, the reason I make this video in the first place is because I think party games are, well, fun. And looking back, I think all my fondest memories with friends were while playing these kind of games. Here's a story. I remember it like it was yesterday. We were playing Mario Party 3 on the Nintendo 64. We decided to do it in teams. It was me and my dad versus my friend and his dads. Both sides had a combined of 6 stars, and coins were what were likely going to be the determining factor for who wins. So a little history, Mario Party 3 has this space called a Shy Guy space, or Game Guy space, I don't remember, which when landed on would make you play a Game Guy minigame, which would forcibly take all of your coins and basically make you place a bet. And the minigame that got chosen this time was a roulette. And it was my friend's turn, and they placed theirs on like the second smallest chance of winning, and ended up winning like 800 coins in winnings. And at this point, this was like the second to last turn. And as you do, everyone used their mushrooms to get more dice rolls. And it just so happened that 3 of 4 of us had landed on a chance time space. All the same one too. And if you don't know what chance time is, it is the ultimate game crusher in Mario Party, because it can do all sorts of crazy stuff purely from luck. And that luck was not on their side, because all 3 of them had to give up 2 stars to someone else. 4 went to me, and 2 went to my friend, and that was just the game. There was no coming back from that, and we ended up winning. And they never wanted to play Mario Party with us again. I wonder why. I tell you this because I love Mario Party, which sucks because in my opinion, modern Mario Party is mid at best. And it's telling when the newest good game, is just a remaster of other games, you know, older maps, mini games. Plus with the slow death of couch gaming happening and Nintendo's god-awful online, it's just not great. So I want to pitch something, so hear me out, because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get crucified for this, but hear me out. A free-to-download, live service model Mario Party. Now, don't go. I swear I have a real argument for this. Live service is most definitely not the best, and it can and definitely has been used poorly by some publishers. But I do genuinely think that Mario Party could heavily benefit from it, and there would be no real downsides. First, it's free to download. With couch gaming being largely replaced with online, it's hard to imagine how this would really at all affect party games, but it has. And in many cases, every person, if they want to play online, has to own their own copy of the games. And some, like Jackbox, only require the host to own it. Do you see where I'm going here? Release Mario Party Ultimate. Free version has like 20 minigames and 1 map. And then there's like a paid version with 4 or 5 maps and a whole game's worth of minigames. Everyone can play all the content that the host has. And then, instead of making a whole new Mario Party every year, they can just have the team make more everything. More maps, minigames, characters, hell, maybe bring out the costumes for each map. That would be cool. And on top of that, there are no risks for the players. Even when the live service ends, it isn't a purely online game, it's Mario Party. Local couch play is still there, and that's arguably the best way to do it. So no matter what, you'll always have the intended way to play the game. And I only see upsides for every party involved. It's free, so more people can play with their friends even if they don't own the game. And because it's free, there will be more people exposed to it, which means money for Nintendo. Plus, with extra packs and stuff, there's money there. Money saved from not having to, create a whole new game every year. That's also there. And since we're on the subject of a new Mario Party, hey Nintendo, here's another free $1 million idea. How about you make the online play just better? Listen, you can get away with lots of downtime when you're with your friends. They're right next to you, you can talk to them, but with online, or worse, with randoms, there is no in-game voice chat, so it's not really much different than just playing with computer players. But I do have an answer for this too. Mario Party, featuring Fast Play, where the time in between minigames is slim to none. What if everyone took their turn all at once? Like, you use your item, roll the dice, shop, do all this stuff, all at the same time in like a 60-second window or something. If 2 players pass the star at the same time, have them dual minigame for it. Better yet, let the other players not playing the minigames place bets of like 5 coins on a winner. Would this mode be balanced? Probably not. But it's Mario Party, so I don't think anyone cares. And I'm sure there are logistical things that I'm missing. Yeah, probably I'm an idiot on the internet, but I mean, come on Nintendo, if you're going to have crappy online service, at least make your games minimize the amount of downtime that I have to check Twitter. Also, I have a question, especially for the indie scene, why isn't there a direct competitor to Mario Party, especially for PC? There are more Mario Parties than Mario Karts, and yet there are more kart clones than party clones, so it's easy. There is a market for these kind of games. There absolutely has to be. Plus, think of the benefits of being on, not a Nintendo platform. Not having their bad online service, mods. Mods? Come on. And it's like, this is the perfect kind of game to let modders go wild. You might not even have to do anything if modders get on board, because the game would basically make unlimited content, especially if it ends up being made by one of those developers who are just super involved with their modding community. Yeah, that'd be great. So someone, if you're listening, go ahead and get on that. Now, as a PC gamer myself, I know that at least sometimes I like having local party games on hand, just in case. So as a bonus, here are a few games on Steam that I think are tons of fun and work as party games. Played Up. It's Overcooked, but a roguelike. Has up to 4 players, simple controls, and gets really hectic later on in a run. And because it's a roguelike, it never starts out unapproachable, and has tons of recipes and layouts that change on a game-per-game basis, and it never gets stale. Toy Tanks. Tanks from Wii Play, the game that everyone owned for some reason. It's that, but with physics, but like, the funny kind of physics. And lastly, Trombone Champ. Now, I understand that this does not fit the party game label that I made, because it's not. It's a trombone-themed rhythm game. But me and my buddies took turns trying to do the hardest songs, and it ended up being hilarious, and we had a blast, so I'm putting it here anyway. And that is the video. Like and subscribe because I asked nicely, and this is the end of the video, so go watch my others. Man, it is certainly a feeling getting back into this. I forgot how to record properly. I've also been playing Lies of P. It just launched, and I love every bit of it so far. I didn't know I needed Twink Puppet Souls game, but here it is. I guess I did. Okay, I'm done here now. I'm going to go to the nearest buffet and stare very intensely at the omelet guy.